Welcome back, everyone, to Third Street Reactions. I'm Zack.
I'm Shane.
We are back with Samurai Jack, presumably Season 2, Episode 12, although sometimes we get that wrong.
Yes.
So, you remember what happened last time?
Yeah, I believe it was the episode where Aku gets, presumably like the greatest warrior, and he's the greatest warrior because he has absorbed the power and the essence of all the
The
greatest...
most powerful minion.
Yeah.
That's false.
And he's absorbed the power of all these great warriors. But the trick was, like, he just captured their essence and their spirit.
Yeah.
So he just kind of sent them out to fight. And the thing is, when you defeated that opponent, he just went back into that minion, and then he just kept sending out more.
Yeah.
And it seems like
the same guys, too.
It seems like the perfect, honestly, fighter. But Jack found a way to beat him, and eventually all those guys got out and turned...
He set them all free, yeah.
Yeah, he set them all free.
Then you thought he was left for dead when Jack left him.
Yeah.
But then later on, you see him with Aku, and he's begging for Aku's forgiveness.
Yeah.
And Aku's just like, no!
Yeah.
And kills him.
Well, I was thinking, like, I guess if I were Aku, I still think that guy could be useful. Just because he failed you once against, like, the greatest threat you've ever faced.
Yeah.
That you yourself can't fight.
Well, he wouldn't want his reputation being diminished as a ruthless overlord by showing mercy to one of his minions that failed him.
That's a good point, but I guess I don't think it would get out, Just don't tell anybody.
Well, you never know, because obviously word gets out in this world, because Jack's accrued a lot of renown.
Yeah, he has.
And, it's like with Aku telling the stories at the end of Season 1, and all the kids that know the name of Jack, you think if that were the case, that his name would be stifled, and no one would speak of it.
Yeah, that's a good point. It makes you think of 300, where Xerxes was like beheading all these guys that failed him, and it's like, dude, you're just like diminishing your ranks,
Well, he had the whole idea there was surplus too, because he had outnumbered the Spartans.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, 30-1.
I fucking love that movie.
It's a fantastic film. I haven't watched it in years.
Yeah.
But
I picked up the graphic novel recently, and I was like, what? Like, he really did everything he could to lift the art off the page.
yeah, he did.
It's very cool.
It's very beautiful.
Yeah.
And very much a. How would you say?
Like an homage to...
I would say homage, but it's almost like a fucking exact replica.
Yeah.
And then same thing with Sin City. Sin City was beautiful.
I saw that with you when I was a senior, and I remember loving it. I just haven't seen it since,
Yeah. Good old Mickey Rourke.
Yeah. But anyway, so, no, it was a good one, and I know got a few more episodes until the finale, so I'm looking forward to it. We still got a long journey, but I'm excited.
I just imagine that crevice would just keep getting narrower and narrower.
Yeah,
as you're going
it's
in.
unsettling.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have his... This is like in Jurassic Park 2, The Lost World, when they're looking over the cliff and they're getting all the dinosaurs.
See these guys? Coincidentally, you were just talking about Spartans.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah.
Top lights. They look like minotaurs.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
You have won.
No, we have not. Come, we go to meet the king.
Cool music.
Now, if they were actually Spartans, they wouldn't be sitting around looking pitiful. They would have been trained over many years of hardship to not show that.
The disadvantage to that culture is the infanticide and stuff, It's kind of...
There's a lot of disadvantages to that culture.
Not being able to marry your 30.
Well, not just that, but they had spies among their people everywhere. They had practiced slavery, which, if you want to go back and demonize everyone, then you're going to find a lot.
Yeah. Man, that helmet really hides. I didn't know if he was an alien or not, yeah.
Did you hold the right flank?
We suffered many casualties, but held our position.
Your numbers have dwindled. I fear you will not survive another attack.
No, my king. We will never give up.
I saw this warrior outnumbered. I meant no disrespect. I apologize.
Wait! These years of war have made my words harsh and my tone insolent. Any man brave enough to face these monsters is a friend.
What is this war?
Cool backstory. Come on.
Long ago, a mechanical beast went mad and waged war against
Terminator.
all in its path. It feeds off the land itself, and the narrow ravine is the only
Thermopylae.
entrance.
Yeah.
It was there with only 300
Oh.
men that we stopped the beast's armies. Year after year, the war went on.
It's really pretty.
The stark contrast in colors. The
Yeah.
gold and the red.
Gold and
with
red.
The black.
And yeah. That's a great image. It reminds me of the Frank Miller with the lightning. And
Well, we'll
the
talk about that afterwards.
Okay.
Because Frank Miller was a big reason he created the
For
series.
this creature
Oh,
strips
There is another way.
What do you mean?
There is a path through the mountains.
How wide is this path?
Wide enough for troops to move through sideways, weapons held in front and behind.
How long to complete the journey?
Half a day,
Will you show us this path?
of course.
You get the reference. The path that was used by the Persians to
Yeah,
outflank the Spartans.
some,
Let us stay
yeah.
here and defend our position. While the monsters attack us, we will attack them.
There's a reversal on
Yeah.
the event.
I will not fail you, father.
He's like standing there just looking off in the distance
Yeah.
with his cape blowing.
You won't fail.
Really cool shot.
Yeah.
It seemed like he had a lot more men.
Yeah, kind of did. The way Jack gets involved,
Yeah, no.
and I've seen that image before, obviously.
Yeah.
Look like he had a charge beam.
Grab a bull by the horns.
Yeah. That's cool. Like a samurai warrior and then a Greek.
Hoplite, yeah.
Yeah. Fighting in this futuristic techno, running down the sci-fi corridor is like the coolest thing.
Like a Zelda boss.
Yeah, it is. Of the Skyward Sword variety. Not Skyward Sword, but Breath of the Wild.
The sheer force from that machine coming down.
Yeah.
Like them hitting it would not deflect it.
No, but it's still
What
cool.
if I smashed them down?
And it could just, you know, they're
I get the idea. I'm just saying.
the warriors of the highest caliber. That's not good. Going right through it to Ren. Turn it on. Use the force.
It's a great shot.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Jeez Louise.
The music and that scene.
Yeah, this is like one of the coolest
This is one
episodes.
of the best ones.
Yeah.
Shield was all that was left. This stranger who became a brother, aided us in our time of need, and made a difference. The 300 plus 1. But I believe the one survived. A warrior.
It's like Tom Cruise walking off at the end of The Last Samurai to that village.
They stopped so easily.
It's a good one.
Damn good.
Damn.
Thus finishes another beautiful episode of Samurai Jack.
That was. I mean, that might have been one of my favorite ones. I know I say that like every other 2 or 3.
That's how all these entertainment
Well, that's how good
gimmicks work, aren't they?
Well, that's how good the show is too. That it
Like
has
those cooking shows, but you're the best chef I've ever seen on this show.
Yeah.
I just keep saying it to the next guy and the next guy.
Yeah.
So,
My question is, how long after that fight was that conversation with the king dying taking place?
well, the fight could have taken place a long time before.
Okay,
And he's
but
old now.
so I guess I imagine. Yeah, I mean
Now,
that city is kind of in a bubble. So
the bubble as far as the
not really
Arrested Development.
well, it's not affected by the events really of the outside. So
Well,
it's
they've
not-
defended their home that long. They've kept it that way.
yeah. So I mean, Jack could be back in feudal Japan by now. He could be.
No. You're trying to say that maybe he's already back in the
Yeah.
past?
Yeah.
Well, there are some clues to things that I cannot say.
Okay.
And I won't say.
But they're there. It's nice.
They're there. I don't have
Okay.
to go into such discreetness
Okay.
as far as our reactions to Gravity Falls.
yeah.
So I will tell you, though, that that is a hint as to the last season.
Okay.
Now, this episode very directly showcases Genndy Tartakovsky's influence from Frank Miller,
Okay.
because this series was based heavily off of Frank Miller's graphic novel Ronin, which is about a Japanese Ronin set in the future fighting a demon, etc. So it's very directly
Oh, I didn't. That's pretty cool.
influenced. But you can see his influence from other 300 or Frank Miller works such as 300.
Yeah.
300 was featured very heavily in this episode.
Yeah,
So-
and it was awesome, and it worked real well as obviously transformed a little bit, but in an animated medium, it was really cool, really beautiful.
I especially learning about the Greeks, getting, I don't know, I wouldn't say young years, but I remember learning about Hannibal, who was Carthaginian. He's
Yeah.
not Greek, but just the Mediterranean and their history, it's a very rich history, the Greeks especially.
Yeah,
The phalanx style of warfare. Alexander the Great was a Greek.
Yeah.
He's Macedonian.
yeah,
And that was well after Sparta's glory days, because, and ultimately, I believe Athens overcame Sparta. So,
okay,
Sparta wasn't just ass kicker, and no one else could ever take them. I mean, they've had a very disciplined and
Yeah.
martial way of life.
Well, it must have been after the city-state, obviously after Persia was defeated, right?
It was.
Yeah,
Then
Then they were
the
left
Greeks
with-
had a lot of bullshit between them, between their city-states.
yeah,
They
they united.
We'll help you this time. We won't help you that time. There was a time that Athens was going to go to war against the Persians, and the Spartans wouldn't help because they were observing that fucking New Year shit with the moon.
Yeah.
where they didn't fight, just like in 300, where they couldn't send the main army
yeah,
because of that, which it shows that they were paid off, etc.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if the same thing happened to them, or if that's directly where Frank lifted his influence for that story.
okay,
I don't think so. It's probably historically accurate.
yeah,
So, I know you delved into Greek history quite a bit,
yeah,
and there's a lot to be respected there, especially with our modern ideas of democracy and things like that. A lot we owe to them.
oh yeah,
and
for
their
sure.
influence
What the
on our
Greeks did,
history.
for sure, yeah,
If I wanted to nitpick it, their shields didn't seem very big,
oh, and
especially for phalanx style warfare. I mean, Miller took a lot of liberties with
Yeah.
how the Spartans looked. It's not actually how they looked.
they're probably naked, right?
They were naked in the comic,
Okay,
but so they didn't want to feature a bunch of swinging dicks in the movie. I'm
I
sure.
wouldn't want to watch that.
Yeah, so but he did admit outright, he's like, these aren't historically accurate Spartans. These are my Spartans,
yeah,
which is fine if a guy can come out and say that shit and
Yeah.
just address it. It's like whatever.
yeah,
I didn't used to get into what do you call it? Rewriting history, but for lack of a better term. But you know, when Tarantino did *Inglourious Bastards* and had them kill Hitler and things like that, or *Once Upon a Time in Hollywood* where they saved the woman.
Yeah,
I didn't usually go for that, but he stylizes it so well, and the movies are so good that whatever.
Yeah,
it would have been great if Hitler could be killed, but the damage was probably already done at that point.
yeah. I think I like *Once Upon a Time* more, but I wasn't as invested in Sharon Tate as I was Hitler die.
I like *Inglourious Bastards* more. I think it's a humorous movie.
Yeah.
Very funny, very enjoyable.
Yeah.
*Once Upon a Time* is a little more of a slow burn.
It's definitely slow.
Still enjoyable, but a slow burn.
Yeah.
You don't have Brad Pitt chewing lines
Yeah.
from like a guy from Tennessee. You know.
Yeah.
I did not cross 5,000 miles of water and the Great Smoky Mountains to teach a German lessons in humanity. Germans ain't got no humanity.
Yeah.
And when they were fighting the robot and they're
Yeah.
chopping off the arms, I'm sure that all of them would have been chopped off by now. It kind of reminded me of the Hydra in Disney's Hercules.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
Long time ago with you.
Yeah, and he's cutting off all the Hydra's heads, and then by the end of it, there's like 100 heads.
Yeah.
And
Because
Danny
it kept multiplying?
DeVito's character is like, stop cutting off the heads.
Yeah.
This reminded me of that a little bit. But
Well, I was thinking they were just taking liberties because like the camera goes close
Yeah.
and you don't see.
well, they had to.
Yeah, and
I mean,
I
by the end of it, the thing was missing more than just the two legs.
yeah,
But
it didn't bother me. I thought it was cool.
yeah, it was a great sequence.
Well, there's so many like moments of like heroic, like I don't say heroic leadership, where like you could take a picture to go, these are heroes,
Yeah.
and they were posing. You know what I mean, in a cool way.
Well, I did have to laugh though at the repeated use of him standing on a rock pointing a sword.
Yeah.
Or they say, what are they making a U-turn? We went the wrong way. Turn around.
Yeah.
But that being said, what did you think about? I didn't really think about this, but you have the medieval town with the dragon episode. Mm-hmm. You have these Greeks living in their golden era.
Yeah.
And it makes me think that maybe they've been held in Arrested Development.
Hey, that's the name of the show.
Yeah.
When he went to Scotland to save.
So we're trying to think of like an in-universe legitimate reason to why.
Well, my guess would be that they've been held in Arrested Development. These societies, these cultures have been retarded.
You don't call retarded people retards. You call your friends retards when they're acting retarded.
By force.
Yeah.
Because Aku would not allow them to advance.
Okay.
Because they've stood the test of time for presumably thousands of years or hundreds of years
Yeah.
at least, and they're still the same. I mean, there are some instances of people that go around, the scientists that he found in the woods in the first season.
Yeah, I guess I would just feel like, yeah, I mean that's probably a good reason.
I mean, that's a reason enough. It's
Yeah.
still great to see them interacting in this environment with.
Yeah, like I said during the
advanced
reaction, we
technology.
have like a samurai, we have a Greek warrior, and they're running down this sci-fi corridor,
Yeah.
and it was
great.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm not complaining about it. I'm
Yeah,
just saying
yeah.
that that's probably a reason enough to assume that Aku's not letting them develop themselves.
yeah, and if like they're not trading with each other, then they're not getting the secrets of other civilizations.
Well, and also, I mean, there's obviously wars between most of these people are fighting robot armies. So
Yeah.
some advanced technology or threats that Aku has brought to that world are threatening their everyday life.
Yeah.
Which you think, because war is progress, as Ulysses S. Grant pointed out.
Yeah.
You think they would have developed, military
Or when they would-
technology
yeah, or
to
they-
combat them
Yeah.
more efficiently.
yeah,
But they haven't. And you could say because the world was affected the way it was with Aku and these alien forces, that this is the way that they have developed, and they've maintained their culture and their lifestyle and
Yeah.
their methods of warfare, because obviously they incorporated rockets on their spears and things like that.
yeah.
So they've very minimally allowed themselves to advance.
It's a good enough reason for me
So,
personally.
I mean, it's beautiful when Tartakovsky tells me about it, so
Yeah.
I'm fine with it. But
One thing also is the music stood out to me.
the music in this episode, as paired with the cinematography and the action sequences,
Yeah.
was fantastic.
So I was listening to this thing on Gladiator, or music in general, and it was actually a podcast on episode 2, Attack of the Clones, and there's like the overuse of one of the themes, Across the Stars, and it's a very beautiful score, but it's one of the movies that has like the least amount of scores. And one thing that the composers were talking about was like around the time this came out, Gladiator and like the woman kind of doing that you know, like that Gladiator tune where you hear like the woman kind of, she's not, I guess she's singing, but she's vocalizing this like this
long
beautiful
notes.
Yeah, and that like became really popular at the time, and it's still used today a little bit. And it would kind of Gladiator kind of introduce that into the landscape, and like I guess I heard some of that here, like with like the woman humming, I guess, and it was really cool. It brought me back. Works. It brought me back to that.
Reminded me a lot of Metal Gear Solid 4, and one of the main themes, and I really don't remember what it's called now, but it's the introductory theme.
Yeah,
and Snake's war has changed.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. That was cool. Yeah, it did for sure.
It's fantastic, and I don't mind. But she was actually, you could tell, there were lyrics.
Okay.
But it wasn't just one long note. But it just reminded me of it.
Yeah.
They carried the notes longer and everything.
Yeah. No, it was a great one. Great art, great music, great story, and I love these type of stories. I can have 100 versions of this story.
Yeah, there wasn't really anything silly in this episode, or goofy.
Not
really.
It was
very serious, very manly episode.
It was
very much Frank Miller, very much 300, very much Ronin, very much awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So,
yeah, that's what I got to say. It's a great one. So
there you go.
Guys, thank you so much for watching our reaction to Samurai Jack. If you like us, you want to support us, you are just by watching us. If you want to support us more, go watch other stuff. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and click that notification so you can get updates on new videos we put up. We put up one every day, and leave a comment down below.